what's up you guys? Welcome to my channel. My name is Kylie if you're new, and today, yes, indeed, due to popular demand, I will be ranking the masks of Michael Myers over the past 40 years. Real quick before I get into it, I just want to show you guys this necklace. Let me try to put the little letters so you can read them. It says Maneater. It's so cute, and that's Megan Fox from Jennifer's Body, and I'm in love. I'm obsessed. I love this and everything about it. If you want one, or if you want a necklace similar to that, you can look up Goblin City on Depop. They sell some really cool horror related jewelry. They made Halloween cover earrings. There's Freddy and Jason earrings. There are some Scream themed necklaces that are like this. I think I'm gonna get one that has Stu's face on it because they have one with Stu's face. Love that. But anyways, just wanted to shout them out really quick before I started the video because I'm obsessed. Before I get into the ranking, I just want to give you guys a very brief history on the masks of Michael Myers. So in Halloween 1978, this is where it all began. One of the film's producers, Tommy Lee Wallace, was tasked with finding a simple mask, and he decided upon a Captain Kirk mask made by Dawn Post Studios. So William Shatner's silhouette is the basis of the Michael Myers mask. But Wallace removed the mask's eyebrows and sideburns, made larger eye holes, and messed up the hair and painted it white. So with just those little tweaks, Wallace created what is now known as The Shape, the name Carpenter gave adult Michael Myers. Then in Halloween 2 in 1981, we have this mask right here. So Rick Rosenthal directed this one, and he used the original mask here actually from the 1978 film, but over the 3-year interval between shoots, the mask accumulated quite a bit of grime. It was also a little bit sullied by smoke because producer Deborah Hill is a chain smoker and she kept it under her bed. So Rosenthal had the hair from the original mask replaced, which left more of Myers' forehead exposed, and the actor who played Myers in the film, Dick Warlock, has a bit of a bigger face than the original Myers, Nick Castle, and the mask fit his face a little bit more snugly and affected its shape. In Halloween 4, in The Return of Michael Myers in 1988, we have this mask here. In Halloween 4, the mask is more rounded and white and kind of cartoonish, I would say. It has very thick eyebrows and very small eye holes that generate a very odd look. This film is also infamous for employing 2 additional masks in editing and reshoots, one of which is blonde. Then we have this mask here from Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers in 1989. The director of this film was unhappy with the mask from Halloween 4, and so they designed a brand new mask for actor Don Shanks, and the result is one of the most hated in the franchise. He chose to highlight Michael Myers' humanity by giving the mask more refined features and sharper eye holes. It imparts a really weird, confusing expression on the killer's face throughout the film. It's also obvious the latex piece doesn't fit Shanks very well, and the mask's wide neck flaps around in very strange ways. Then of course we have Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, with this mask here. The mask in this film retains most of the original's features, like washed out contours and large eye holes. So by creating a mask with few defining characteristics, audiences are left to make whatever they want out of the serial killer. Then of course we have Halloween H2O, which came out in 1998. The main mask in the film was recast from the mask used in Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Like the very first mask, it contains more ambiguous and vague features. One unique element of this mask is its extra wide eye holes, which were chosen to create more eye contact and tension between Laurie and her psychopathic brother. Then of course we have Halloween Resurrection in 2002. The mask here is similar to the original in overall shape, but it contains a lot more detail. Since the movie employs body cams on the actors, those produce grainier footage, and so the mask needed sharper definitions to ensure that its features would still be visible. Then we have Rob Zombie's Halloween from 2007. The Myers mask in Rob Zombie's remake is much closer to the 1978 version in shape and expression. He wanted to design a mask as close as possible to the original, but in the end he decided to deviate in one major way and added scars to it. His goal was to add texture and narrative to Myers' journey, and he sees the scars as indications of what Myers has been through as he becomes further and further detached from his humanity. Then in 2009 we had Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 with this mask here. This mask looks like it's about to fall apart at any moment. John Carpenter and his creative partner in the early days of the franchise, Deborah Hill, both see Myers as a ghoulish antagonist who lacks humanity, and his original mask is a reflection of that. Zombie implies basically the exact opposite with his choice here in showing part of Michael's face. Last but not least, we have Halloween from 2018 with this mask here. When designing this mask, Oscar-winning FX artist Christopher Nelson preserved the original mask's silhouette, yet sullied and dirtied it to make it look as if it had aged 40 years. The result was to have Myers don the same mask from his first sanatorium escape in 1978. So overall, there are 10 masks to rank on this list. I will be starting with my number 10, my least favorite, then working up to my favorite mask. My least favorite, without a doubt, definitely has to go to Halloween 2 from 2009. This comes from a place of me just not liking that we got so much of Michael Myers' humanity coming through in both of Rob Zombie's movies. Really did not find it necessary. I don't like the direction that he took with it. It also barely looks like Michael. You can barely tell who it's supposed to be, and just doesn't really really resemble the shape whatsoever. It also kind of reminds me more of like a scarecrow than it does Michael Myers. And it also looks kind of like, I don't know, like a paper bag or something that's just really dirty and old. Nothing about it gave me Michael Myers vibes, just my least favorite, hands down. Number 9 on this list definitely, most definitely has to go to Halloween 5. Again, this just really lacked any resemblance to Michael Myers. I really disliked this one, especially because of the neck flaps. He looks more like an alien to me, almost. I don't know. I don't really recall the neck flaps ever being quite so pronounced. I don't remember them ever being such an issue with me before, except for in this movie. Just really goofy looking, just really silly. I think I also did point it out in my review of Halloween 5. Anyways, let's move on. My number 8 on this list is probably no surprise. It is the mask from Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I included in my review of this movie that I really hate how smooth he looks. He looks more like a porcelain kind of doll man than he does look like this shape or like Michael Myers. I also just think the hairline is really goofy. His features are just a little bit too clean for me. There's hardly any definition, and I don't really like the color of his hair. It's a little bit too light. And then also, of course, in this movie, we had the really goofy mishap with the blonde Michael Myers for a moment there. I think it's honestly just criminal how flat, how smooth he looks. It's ridiculous. He looks like a light bulb or something. That being said though, that is still honestly one of my favorite performances of Michael and one of my favorite Halloween movies. George P. Wilbur was somehow able to rock that mask. I don't know how, but for what it was, he made it work. Up next would be number 7, and that goes to Halloween H2O. Again, no real super defining characteristics. I think throughout most of the movie it actually looks okay, but I have mentioned in the past that his eye holes being larger and kind of having those emotional connections with Laurie, I actually do kind of like that, but for the rest of the movie, I hate how well you can see his eyes. It's very weird. Because yes, in horror it's supposed to be off-putting, but it's just like really out of character for Michael to be connecting with him and his humanity so much. Not my cup of tea, even though that is one of my top 3 Halloween movies. Okay, moving on to my number 6, and that would go to Halloween Resurrection. One thing I really like about this mask is how detailed its features are. Like I mentioned, they used some body cam footage, and so he had to have really defined characteristics to his face. I think that's a great choice. I've noticed the trend with myself that kind of the more defined the mask is, the more I am a fan of it. And I think that's because even though the features are more defined, it's clearer, like it's nicer to look at. But even though it's more defined, the mask being white still leaves it so expressionless somehow. So that's why I like there to be a little bit more detail on the mask, because we can just see it better and it's still relatively expressionless. Okay, my top 5 masks, and my number 5 would go to Halloween 2 from 1981. Looking at the mask right here with this picture, it's one of my least favorites, but yet somehow in the actual movie itself, with the lighting and the way that they shoot it and the shadows and whatnot, I do like the way that it looks in the movie. I think when it's photographed just like this, it looks really goofy. So it was kind of weird trying to judge this one. I went online and I watched some scenes from Halloween 2 just to kind of get a better picture of it, and it did look good in the movie, so it's in my top 5. My number 4 would have to go to Rob Zombie's Halloween. Felt very conflicted about the movie, didn't really like it, but I did like the mask. I appreciated the more gritty aesthetic that he went with Michael. I think for what he was trying to do, it made sense. I don't like the direction he went with Michael and having us kind of connect more to his humanity and following him as a young Michael and whatnot, but for what he was going for, I actually thought the mask looked really good. I don't really love the scars. I don't really think that makes a ton of sense, because I think he could have achieved the same thing, just kind of giving it this same like dirty kind of a vibe, but without the scars. Anyways, but yeah, and I really like the hairline on this one. Nothing about it was like goofy to me or weird. I think the eye holes are the perfect size, and I really like the characteristics of like the nose and the mouth on this one. Also, no neck flaps. So moving right along, my number 3 is from Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. A train wreck of the movie, whether you're watching the producer's cut or the theatrical cut, a train wreck. But the mask is actually not too shabby, and in this picture that I have here, you see it kind of has some like dimpling going on. It almost looks like it's made out of wax or something. I don't know, I just really liked the mask in this movie. The shape of the eye holes was really nice, because even though they were kind of on the bigger side, they provided quite a bit of shadow, so you still couldn't see his eyes. And I do like that kind kind of worn look. I like that kind of wax figure-y kind of look that it has to it. I think it's very reminiscent of the original. Plus, George P. Wilbur came back. I really liked his performance. It just suited him really well. Also, again, like I mentioned, it kind of toes that fine line of having some good definition while still being very vague and expressionless. And my number 2 might be surprising yet again, but I do love to surprise you guys. Because that reminds me, a lot more people have been finding my ranking of the Friday the 13th franchise, and a lot of people are like, an interesting ranking to say the least. Or like, wow, what an unexpected ranking. I feel like a lot of you guys come here for my more unique opinions, so bear with me. My number 2 is the original mask from Halloween 1978. Of course, iconic. I literally have zero problems with this mask, like none at all. It might as well also be my number 1, but I couldn't put 2 at number 1, so I put it at number 2 because my number 1 just has just that little extra oomph that puts it at number 1. So obviously my number 1 is the mask from Halloween 2018. Now I love both of these masks. They both deserve to be at number 1, but for different reasons. But I did put the mask from Halloween 2018 at the number 1 spot on my list because I love how aged it looks. Also, this is totally a preference thing, so like I totally get if you like the original one more, but with its agedness, it just seems like it carries so much more history. It carries the vibe with it of someone that has just been a psychopath their entire life, someone who has been locked up for so long and now they're finally out and they're finally donning their mask again. There's just something so powerful about that to me, the way that it's just kind of dirty and like aged and whatnot. I love that because it also gives off the vibe, at least to me, that he's like, yeah, I'm still here after 40 years. My mask is old and wrinkly, but you still can't stop me. How about that? It's kind of hard to put into words why I like it so much. I don't know. But it kind of makes sense given how much I like Halloween 2018 and my other ranking lists. If you haven't seen those yet, I will link them down below, so check those out as well. Things might make a little bit more sense for you. Now, the 78 mask obviously also could be at number 1. I love the 1978 mask. Perfectly defined, perfect eye holes. They just create shadows so you can't see his eyes. Perfectly vacant and expressionless. Nick Castle wore it so well. Also, with the way that Halloween was shot in 1978, the shadows just play so well off of that mask. So all credit to that mask and to John Carpenter and whatnot. They both are at number 1. But that does it for this list. I thought that today would be my last video in my Halloween franchise, but I still have my wrap up and that will be next week. And then I will indeed finally announce to you guys what my next 2 series will be on my channel. So definitely stick around, tune in next week, hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I post. I do post 3 days a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I also have a vlog channel, so you can follow me over there just to keep up with like my travels and my life and whatnot. If you'd like to follow me on social media, my Instagram, Twitter, Depop, and Letterboxd are all at Kai Johns. On Depop, I'm selling some movies right now, so check that out if you're interested. On Letterboxd, that's where I talk about movies that I don't intend on reviewing on this channel. Although I did talk about a lot of the movies that I just reviewed on Letterboxd on my vlog channel actually, because I did a vlog with my last week of October events. I just kind of compiled all the stuff that I did in the last week of October. So I talked about all the movies that I watched to get me in the Halloween spirit. But of course, for us Halloween fans, Halloween is year-round, of course. My Instagram is where I tell you guys what movies I'm watching so you can watch them too, just in case I do a review of them. My Twitter is for all my unfiltered thoughts and where I use SpongeBob memes such as this. So yeah, knock yourself out, have fun on my Twitter if you want to. Make sure that you are ready to vote, that you have a plan for tomorrow, because this is for real, guys. You need to vote. Do not put your ballot in the mail. Definitely go and vote in person, please. Wear your mask, stay distanced in line, and stay in line however long it takes. You are very appreciated. Thank you for voting. On that note, definitely check out my resources, petitions, GoFundMe's linked down below. I update those every week. I hope that you enjoyed this video and I hope I catch you in the next one. Bye!